Hi there, and welcome to another edition here on Bustanet. Yes, the show has changed. Now it's all about you. We're going to use your tactics to drive Glossicity up the table. On our last show, we featured a tactic by Sandokan. Sandokan had a 5-3-2. We used that for a match against Bournemouth. We beat them 3-0. We followed that up with a match against Liverpool, which we did the tactic did pretty well against Liverpool. We did reduce Liverpool to some poor chances at our goal. We rocked the upright once. We really should have scored. Lacazette did not have a good game. He missed two really good chances. Defensively, the system was pretty solid. Even from set pieces, the boys were able to get their players out, hold them off. Lacazette in this game, I was a bit disappointed with how he played. Our counter attacks fell apart largely because Lacazette either missed the chance to release somebody or he just yeah, his shooting was off on the day. I can't really complain because we had good chances in and around the box. Had it not been for Lacazette's misses, well, I think we could have beaten Liverpool on the day. So now it's time to take a look at another tactic. For our second match, we'll be using a tactic submitted by Calamity. It's a 4-2-3-1. We've already used this tactic in the FA Cup match against Bristol City. I had to make a few changes on the fly, change the tactic around, change the roles and duties around to get a bit more bite. Um, we were we were we had a lot of possession, but really didn't create a lot of good chances. In the end, after making some of the changes, we managed to create three clear-cut chances, and we went on to win the game. Um, in terms of how the tactic does, in terms of a heat map, yeah, it's massive, right? It's a big heat map here. You can tell that the tactic does dominate. The one thing, there are several things in this tactic, right? He's got short passing, pass into space, much higher tempo, tighter marking, get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, playing on defensive, very fluid. So for me, the issue I have is mentality and much higher tempo. These two don't seem to work together very well. So that's the first thing in terms of the shouts. The second thing is you got to use tight marking and get stuck in. Now, might see a lot of cards if you get stuck in. So I removed the get stuck in shout and just I can see why it would work. I know the general idea for this tactic is to make it into a one-touch passing system, but if you think about it, this wing on support, he might go wide with the ball, right? And I'm looking at my players crossing, they can go wide, no problems there. On the right flank, you have an inside forward and support. Okay, not a bad move. Now, question here is he's gonna cut inside when he has the ball, and he's gonna go into the space occupied by the AM attack. Okay, not that bad because if it's crosses that are gonna come from Lopez, then you've got two targets in the box. There's only one slight problem. You got a center forward on attack who's doing a lot of work. He's doing a lot of things. So that's the other concern that I have. Um, in terms of how you set up your closing down, hijack is dribble less, few risky passes, both basic at the back, nothing too different here. So what I've done is I've removed the close down less from your two center backs. What I'm going to do is slightly different. We're going to turn this into a DLP on defend, and we're going to turn this guy into a central midfielder on support and remove tackle harder. Uh, and we're going to turn him to close down much more. Okay. Then he is also going to be told to um, play it short, dribble less, close down much more, fewer risky passes. Okay. So we've got this guy playing like a ball winning midfielder on support. Okay, Olmedo, he's going to be playing like a deep line playmaker. All right, we're given this shouts. Up front, we're going to change it slightly. Uh, Run wide with the ball. I want to drag players around now. I'm not going to change this guy to an advanced forward on attack. Make him target the defensive line. Gonna turn this inside forward to an inside forward on attack. And I'm gonna turn this guy into advanced playmaker on support. So he now cuts inside. So I got people cutting inside. I'm gonna turn this guy into an attacking midfield on support. So we're gonna have him holding the ball up. Germano also dropping slightly deep to support these two. He will have move into channels, get further forward. I'm gonna remove that. So we're gonna leave him on close down more, tackle harder, move into channels. Up top, same instructions except I'm gonna remove Mark Taiter. Gonna remove Mark Taiter from these players. All of them are not gonna be total Mark Taiter. Central midfield and support DRP on defense. So these are the shots. Now, what about the PIs? What about the shots themselves? Okay, with the shots themselves, your defensive very fluid. I'm gonna remove the tempo, put it on to higher. Remove get stuck in. I'm gonna remove use tighter marking on everyone since we already got tighter marking on some players and work ball into box. So that's basically the setup of the tactic. Colado will be playing a ball winning midfielder. Now we're going to change him into a wing back on attack. Why? Because I've got the security of this guy doing a lot of work. Secondly, I want him to be closer to this group of people to support them. Our mentality is going to be still defensive, very fluid. Okay, so we all set. Those are the changes I made right now following our first match against Bristol City. Now we travel away to Sporting Lisbon. Do I get undone? I don't know. Oh, Sporting Lisbon is playing a 4-2-2-2-2. I just saw that. Okay, these are the shouts. We're gonna watch it on comprehensive. And let's start the game. Z Gomez to Germano, Germano to Webster, Webster to Hajek. At this point, we're going to make sure that our wing back moves into an attacking position once we transition from midfield consolidation. So here you can see we're very consolidated midfield and the wing back is already pushed up. Now you can look at where our inside forward is as well on the right flank. Both of them in extremely good positions. As long as the ball can work its way up, we shouldn't have an issue. Lopez to Olmedo. Right now, we're looking to penetrate the defense. Colado plays it out to Lopez, and good. I'm happy with the way it's set up inside of 30 seconds. That was our first highlight, and it was a pretty good highlight as well. Told us, gave us a lot of information, and I like to use every highlight in the game tells you a story. So you want to be paying attention to all the highlights if you are trying out a new tactic, and you want to be looking out for stuff like that. When the three players were circled, and I showed them, all three were in good positions. The only issue then I would have is whether my midfielders are coming up in support to bring that to give us a chance of building good attacks. Here again, Mafio cuts inside Lopez. You can see the AMS and the central midfielder, they were in each other's way. That may need some tweaking, but I still like the idea of having number 11 playing more or less like a ball-winning midfielder on support without the tackle harder shout. After this corner is cleared, let's see how we defend this right now. Defensively, pretty solid. They didn't have very many chances to try and create something constructive. Hajek out with the ball. This is when he's in. We are trying to work the ball from the defense transition into the midfield consolidation phase. Here we've entered I like to call the midfield consolidation phase, where when players are trying to get into attacking positions. We've now entered the attacking transition phase. The wing back has moved up to support the attack. Lopez back to Germano. They go back, they reconsolidate, but Lacazette is injured. Ouch. We're gonna have to take him off. I'm gonna bring on Will Greig. And that will be we'll need to tweak this slightly, I expect, because Will Greig is not an inside forward. So Sergey Z Gomez can play as an inside forward. So we'll make some changes right now. Swap their positions around so that Z Gomez goes out to the flanks. All right, Colado, Germano. You can you can see how our players are now trying to. Mafia is adding width. That's good to see. Um, all right, defensive very fluid. Doesn't look too bad. We have a corner right now. Germano with the corner gets cleared. I like the corner routines haven't been changed. That's good to see. I like your corner routines. They're pretty good. Germano out wide. Okay, we're literally playing defensive fluid on normal D line, and we're camping in the opponent's half. Grieg, Olmedo with the ball. Back to Colado. I'm one of the reasons why I'm also using wing backs. So we need to try and get more players into the box. We have to get a bit more variety in attack as well. We have another corner now. Germano puts. That's a average corner. Z Gomez. The ball's cleared once again. Mafia will chase this up. So I'm going to take a look at the shouts and see whether we need to change anything. Well, we've got normal ball into box. I'll change it to whip crosses instead of having mixed crosses. An ins I have an inside forward attacking, and I have a forward attacking. So let's try and whip these crosses in. Germano with a free kick. Carvalho, the central midfielder, has already picked up a yellow card. This is not a bad Sporting side. Some pretty decent players. Olmedo back to Mafio. Olmedo plays it out to the flanks. This is a good ball to Z Gomez. This is what I want to see. Z Gomez drives it and Will Grigg scores. Yes, that's what I wanted to see, the kind of goals that are being scored. It's a great looking goal. Created by Olmedo, the deep line playmaker. He found a ball over the top of Z Gomez. Z Gomez drops in a whip cross for Greek to go on to score the opening goal. Picture perfect. We couldn't have asked for a nicer goal. All right, so John Halmedro plays it back to Santos. At this point, I'm looking at how my team defends because some people are confused. I read this on the forums all the time. People get very confused by the shape, very fluid. They think that very fluid's creative freedom is going to suddenly derail the entire side. That can't be further from the truth. Now, very fluid does, you have higher creative freedom. That is true. But honestly, if you want to think about it, you have to look at all the roles as well that you're using. Are you using a lot of creative roles? If you're using a lot of creative roles, then there would be some increase in their creative freedom. But here we are playing with, we don't have many creative roles. We've got a deep line playmaker. I've got what else do I have? I have an inside forward. He might be a bit creative. Then we have an attacking player up front. I would like him to be creative. Okay. Then what does very fluid do instead? It brings everybody's mentalities closer in line. So, everybody is now going to be thinking, let's not waste possession of the ball. I'm going to change things slightly now. I'm going to tell my wing back, we're taking a goal lead. We're going to tell our wing back now, stop being so attacking minded. Now I just want you to cross balls from deep. It adds another dimension to our play. So if they attack us looking for the equalizer, maybe my wing back can drop another ball over the top or down the line across from deep. We have an inside forward on the right flank. If my wingback had the PPM, likes to switch ball to other flank, that would be so sweet. Germano, ooh, that should have been half a chance, I think. That was not an easy chance. Colado again, up top, Olmedo, the deep line playmaker, plays it to Germano, back to Webster, out to Lopez. If we have told Olmedo to play direct passes, and you notice that he did a direct pass earlier when the there was a possibility of a good counter, and he played it from deep. So we are playing on a defensive mentality. So he won't be doing that all the time. Now, if I wanted to play with a bit more risk, I probably would raise my mentality, but I might drop my shape. So I might go to a fluid shape. Oh, we've scored another goal. Wow, Will Grigg, I think this was a keeper screw up. Let us look at the replay one more time. Yes, Santos, the midfielder's first touch was horrible. He couldn't control the ball. Will Grigg said, "Thank you very much," and goes on to score the goal. Now, this is the one thing I like about using a non-creative focal point in the attack. Now, if I have a very creative striker, then chances are he's going to do a lot of work. Right now, we've reduced that. We're using a different role, which has less demands placed on him. So he doesn't have to do a lot of things. He just has to worry about beating the players, get between the two defenders, try and score goals, try and break the offside trap. Let's keep it simple. Let's not overcomplicate things in front because we already have so many players in the attacking third. Oh, another shot. This time rocks the upright. My word, these boys are trying to crack a few goals in. It's already 4-4. Uh, Sporting Lisbon have decided to come out and play a bit more, so we don't have to change anything much. We've already told our wing back to go from attack to support. And this is the time when I look at transitions, right? So how well do my players come back? It's a They funnel the attack down to the left flank. Webster steps up and gets brought down. That's not very Sporting, is it? by Sporting Lisbon. Oh my goodness, that was so corny. Okay, so how is this tactic looking at the moment? I think with some changes, the tactic can be quite solid. I'm not a big fan of the 4-2-2, and I just don't like it. I mean, you can make it into a very dominating kind of system. This is already playing on defensive, very fluid. We're not trying to camp, but we have generated a lot of possession, and our passing numbers are going to be out there. I mean, they're going to be crazy. Um, but once in a while, you may want to look at like here we have Z Gomez as an inside forward. He cuts in, drags players to him. Then we switch it up to the other playmaker. Notice now how they are dragged around by the playmaker. Germano and Z Gomez is free, almost free inside the box. A better pass, and if he timed his run, he'd be in a better position. What would I do if I faced a team that is a lot tougher than Sporting Lisbon? I'll probably play the same way. I probably won't change anything. I'll play defensive fluid. Maybe I might want to go to defensive structured. That way, I don't get everybody coming back, right? My attacking duties are going to be slightly higher position up the pitch. Their mentality is going to be slightly more, so they are more willing to take risks. This is the thing people don't understand about the shape. There's so much overcomplication of shape. It just drives me nuts. And I've given up trying to correct it on the forums. I just don't want to correct it anymore. I mean, so many people talk about shape, and so many people are confusing the issue more than it has to be. If you don't know about transitions, you really have to learn. So it's all about three phases, or four phases rather, in the game. You got the defense to midfield, midfield consolidation, through to midfield penetration, then you got the attacking phase. And then you've got your other transitions, right? Like, set piece defending and set piece attacking, the transitions that follow from that. Now, basically, what you want to see is your team moving through the transition smoothly. Now, how does shape come into play? Shape affects your duties. Duties then, these are the players that bomb forward during the transitions. Now, people also get confused by stratas. Stratas are the easiest thing to set up in the game. How many stratas does a 4-2-3-1 have? It only has four stratas. The 4, the 2, the 3, and the 1 are four stratas. If it's a 4-3-3 with three strikers up front, there'll be three stratas. So the more stratas you have, essentially, the more you're trying to control different areas of the pitch. So here we have a couple of duties that basically straddle two stratas. So we've got a AM on support. He straddles the strata between midfield and attack. We've got a DLP on defense. He straddles the strata between defense and midfield. So we really have for the midfield consolidation. Then we have the two wing backs supporting the midfield consolidation along with the ball winning midfielder on support and the attacking midfielder on support. So we got five players there helping with transitions. So how does shape play now, a role now? Very simple. If you want to play on very fluid, most of the players are going to think along the same wavelength. Ignore creative freedom. Don't get bogged down by creative freedom. Just put creative freedom to the side. Don't worry about it so much. If you're going to be bogged down by creative freedom, just remember this. Creative freedom loosely allows your team to have a bit more license to try and do something with the ball. But when you're playing on defensive mentality, your risk is already very, very low. So do you think creative freedom is going to somehow or another unbalance your side? It makes absolutely no sense. So we're coming almost to the end of this match, and well, Gloucester City look very comfortable playing against Sporting Lisbon. We've hardly been tested this entire match, even when Sporting went into a 4-2-4 earlier. But overall, I'd say we've done okay. It's okay. Let's look at the overview, the heat map. The heat map, yep, big splotch of red shows the domination we enjoy in their half. Now, what about the key pass combinations? I do expect to see some, yes, isolation, correct. My two central defenders did in this game, they didn't really do a lot in terms of build up. We use the fullbacks a lot, the wing backs rather. Let's one other thing that I would normally take a look at is also interceptions. Where were all our interceptions? As I suspected, yeah, we have a good amount of interceptions in the opposing half, and we have a decent amount in our own half. I can't complain there. What about the chances we created inside the box? Scoring chances weren't that bad in and around the box, and the shots that we made, I think that there were a few from around the edge of the box as well. So two scoring chances inside the box. Well, one saved there. So against a very defensive team, we did okay. And as I suspected, we created something like a 4-1-4-1. Yeah. I had this feeling that the tactic was going to play out like a 4-1-4-1, and it did exactly that. So my 4-2-3-1 defensive, very fluid, ended up looking like a 4-1-4-1. Yep. So that's a slight change that we made to your system, Calamity. As it sits at the moment, I think it may suffer from lack of movement in the final third. We managed to. That was the issue we had when we played Bristol. So here we travel away to Sporting Lisbon, who are would say reasonably a much better side than Bristol, and we managed to convincingly walk away with a 2-0 win. Compared to our match against Bristol, you look 4 out of 17 shots were on target. And I'm not a big fan of these stats, but let's just look at the ratio: 4 out of 17 compared to our 9 out of 17. So 50% of our shots were on target, in the other one 25%. Okay, if we're just looking at raw numbers like that, then I tested the keeper more effectively using the slight changes that I made. So that basically brings us to your tactic. Now it's a we made some. I'll just go through the changes one more time. So basically, at the back, we've you had two central defenders with close down less as a shout. So what we did was we removed those shouts. So in the alternate version of this tactic, they've got close down less, close down less. These are the instructions you had. So we removed the shout. We kept it pretty much the same after that. Then I changed a few of the roles around the wing back on attack. More importantly, I put the AM on support. We use a Lacazette as an inside forward on attack, so he becomes like a second striker with the advanced forward at top. The advanced forward, we use that role instead of centre forward because we want him to do less. Germano, we asked him to move into channels as an advanced midfielder and support. And on the left flank, we have an attacking playmaker on support. After making the changes, I found several things had happened. Firstly, we get a lot more width. Secondly, I'm winning second balls a lot more easily. This is largely due to the fact that we have pushed one of my midfielders into a slightly more attacking posture when it comes to his positioning. So instead of so 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 our changes were very simple. The whole goal here is to control the our changes were our changes were very simple. The whole goal is to extend our domination, which is why Colado is now playing like a ball-winning midfielder. We get lots of width coming from Hajek, the wing-back on attack. He is going to be kept in that position. Now, the only question I'd have is how do I play against sides who are defensive? Then probably I have two options. One, if my players are technically better than the other team, then maybe I don't want to throw everybody into attack. Flexible would not be a bad way to start. Uh, and I would also keep wingbacks in attack, or wingbacks around. But if I were playing a very, very good side who's coming down one of my flanks, then I'll consider changing the duties of one of the wingbacks to a defend duty or maybe even turning him to a fullback on defend. That way, I'm almost certainly guaranteed four players who are going to be staying back during a defensive transition. On the next show, we're going to feature Stian Street's 4141. I look forward to that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this show. If you liked what we've done on this show, because it's a totally new way of playing Gloucester City, it's really a community-driven attempt at getting Gloucester City to win the title. So your tactics come in handy. What I do in this show is I mod the tactics slightly to suit my players, which is very important. And if you want your tactics featured on the game, please do a link for me in the comments below and link your tactic to me. And I will go through the tactic in my game and I'll play two matches. Eventually, I might settle with a tactic and play for 4 or 5 and it becomes a featured tactic for a while. Well, let me know what you think. You can always find me on Twitter at BusterNet or addicted2fm.com, my website. Once again, I'd like to thank all my patrons for their continued support of this channel. You guys take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.